Aloha and welcome to Exploring Aerial Yoga. My name is Patrick Faris and I am grateful to be coming to you from the beautiful Air House in Hilo, Hawaii today, where we're going to be doing aerial yoga in silks, covering our traditional warrior poses, Virabhadrasana 1, 2, and 3 in a flowing series, and then also a really nice Vajrasana pulling ourselves out of this. So silks are a little bit different than hammock, and of course with hammock you can always have 2 point, 1 point. I like a single point that's on a spinner. So silks not being connected like a hammock or a sling, you do have a little bit more of a mental practice that you're going to be working on here. Always being aware that the top of the silk is more our pull or our top, and then of course the tail is not connected. So you really do have to be aware of your silks as you're working here. Always work within your capacity. If you do not have a traditional practice, make sure that you're being safe. You are responsible for your own actions. That said, this isn't very invasive, so I don't think you'll need a crash pad for this, but it's sometimes good to have a spot if you're not really sure what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, I think you're going to really enjoy this because we're going to get into some compression, some tourniquet effects on the feet here. And these locks are gonna feel great. So let's go ahead and start just in our silks, separating the silks up, making sure that you've got a nice secure point. And you're going to use one silk as your more support. The support is something that you can hang into. So the higher up you are, the more that you can hang. If you do have good upper body strength, midway is nice, but of course it's gonna be a little bit more moving. And then, of course, if you push down, that's not going to be easy. So we're going to take one fabric, your choice. I'm going to start with my right side. We're going to wrap the foot around, coming down, and then dorsal flexing again on the outside. Keeping that foot on the ground is very important. If you start to raise the foot up, you're going to get a different height. So make sure that that foot is nice on the ground. You're going to reach down with that pull, that top of that silk, to about the knee space, and then you can lift that foot up. If you do have a little bit of balance on that grounded leg, you can, again, always hang into that other side. Otherwise, we're going to take that fabric over the top and then underneath the pinky side to the big side of the foot. So we have a nice lock there. If you do go from big side to pinky side, this is not a safe lock because you see you can slide right out. So just recapping that, we're going to wrap the foot around, nice little pointed toe. Then as we come out, dorsal flex on the other side. Foot is near the ground. We're going to grab that top by the knee, pull that fabric out over that pinky, that small side of the foot, underneath to that big toe, big side of the foot. And then there, you've got a lock. This is your traditional box lock. You can do it again the other way around. You do have to be aware whether you're pointing your plantar flex or your dorsal flex. I always say this is your yoga foot, this is your dancer foot. You want that nice flat foot as though you're standing on an imaginary ground. If I reach up here, you can see stand on that point. So it is a nice lock. I'm gonna jump behind my rigging point, just about one good arm's length. So that rigging point is just up in front of me, and we're gonna work just first in an open hip form. Taking that fabric to the outside of that bound leg, and you're going to bend that foot in so the fabric's on the outside, and then here, you're going to start to internally rotate that foot up your midline. Knee is pointed out. If you hold here, you're going to start to feel some fire. So this is just a great way to open up the hip to start. You always do have that free pull over here for some nice balance. If you want to go deeper, you can grab that tail on that bound foot and you can pull that foot up even higher. Of course, we're standing here in a half lotus and making sure that standing leg just has a nice, good foundation on the ground, no gripping with the toes. Try not to hyperextend that knee. Level hips is nice. Once you have that foot nice and high here, we're just going to release the fabric. See if you can hold it there. The higher up it is, the more heat you're going to start to get in through that side leg, the thigh, the glute, keeping that foot dorsal flexed. So from here, that external rotation, we're really just bringing heat into the leg. We are warming up literally the leg. Going into our warrior one, our Virabhadrasana one, we're going to keep that fabric on the outside of the knee. And this is so that we can have that nice external rotation, that center line, because we want our hips forward. So if you're constantly pushing that knee out, you might have this nice strong form. Your grounded foot wants to be out at 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock, whether it's your left foot or your right foot. So just that nice little external rotation. You're not all the way out to 9 or 3, just 10 or 2. And then grabbing the poles in front of you, both the free pole and the bound pole, you're going to have that nice foundation, just like you're going into a traditional warrior here, but your foot is elevated. Keep that foot dorsal flexed. If you start to point the toe, it's not going to be good. Holding the fabric here is nice. If you do want to take this into a deeper, more traditional form, make sure you're pushing through that pinky side on the grounded foot. You will feel fire in your thigh that you've never felt before. I cannot do a grounded warrior 1 or 2 now without looking for this fire. So if you're doing this, you'll know what I mean. As we start to take that fabric forward, if your fabric ricochets out, no good. We want to take that fabric out and really control it and keep it in line with the shin. Once we know we're in line with the shin, we know that we've got that nice stacked ankle to knee. From here, if you want to go deeper, make sure you're not turning this into a warrior 2. Keep this in our warrior 1. Once you're here, if you want to, you can remove the hands, or maybe just one hand at a time, or maybe holding just that free pole. If you want a little bit more extension here, you will feel some nice stretch in that grounded front hip. Breathing here, you can exalt. I'm definitely feeling some nice fire. Try not to rise to that big toe on the ground. Keep pushing through the blade of the foot. When we come up, that is our warrior 1. And you will, after doing that, always look for that fire in the leg. Going into a warrior 2, we're just going to turn and keeping again that leg to that center line, that flying leg to that center line. Heel is going to draw a line through the arch of our grounded foot. As I start to open up here, I'm going to take that fabric to the front of my knee this time. I'm going to bend that knee a little bit more so that I can flamingo grip from the front of the fabric up, and this pushes my thigh back. This opens my hip. Keep that dorsal flex. You, of course, can extend through that back arm. And then when you feel nice and ready here and you feel good, you're just in one line, your grounded foot is in the same direction as your torso, shoulders and hips in that direction, you can start to lean in. It's really easy to lean forward. Don't lean forward. Lean into that center line. Again, as I go further, if I look up, now my rigging point is right up above my head. So this is the reason why we want to be that just good arm's length away. If you want to extend out, you can. Pushing that knee back is nice. If you want to make this a little harder and more classic form, of course, that grounded foot, you are pushing through that pinky side. But you can take that fabric, and again, don't let it ricochet off. You see how that can twerk that knee forward. Instead, try to keep the fabric in front of the knee, going along the shin, all the way down to the foot. And again, here you can go deeper. Do not go too deep if you still have that fabric in the front of the knee. Really try to stack up properly here and then going down and in. And I'm going to do this from just a side version so that you can see, again, that little flamingo grip from the front is nice to hold. As I lean in and I come to center line, you can see how my knee is a little more over my ankle. So don't go too far until you have that fabric in line with the shin. Once you have that fabric in line with the shin, if you want to go deeper there, you're welcome to go deeper. Keeping that nice alignment from that front foot, from toe to heel, draws through the arch of that back foot. And coming back up, going into our warrior 3, we're just going to hold that free pole and turn around here. I'm going to come just in front of that point here. And as I turn from the side, that fabric is going to wind up the top of my foot. I do recommend to push through the heel first and then extend through the toes. But most importantly, find that grounded leg. You have this free pull to really hang into, which is lovely. Your hips are where I prefer to work out from. So even if your standing leg is not straight, even if your back leg is a little taken in, even if your chest is a little lifted or lowered, work on balancing the hips first. Once those hips are nice and balanced, and you feel especially that flying leg is dropped down, maybe then extend through that standing leg. No gripping with the toes. Maybe then push that heel back, and then maybe then push forward. This fabric that's flying in front of you is great to hold on to, but again, if you want to let go, you have that nice form here, and you see how I can push down through that bottom foot, really holding that strength in, making sure that flying hip is down. When you are ready, dropping down into the mat for a little child's pose. Nice, relaxing. When you're in child's pose here, try not to drop that knee. Keep that leg extended back. You do not want to lose that length in the leg. If you do come down entirely or maybe even to a half froggy, again, don't let that knee drop. Keep that leg engaged and you will feel this stretch all the way into that front hip. Breathing, relaxing, going through that warrior 1, 2, and 3, down to a nice little cooling form. When we come out here, we're going to rotate into that grounded hip. And as we rotate into that grounded hip, you can see the fabric can just slide right off. The foot real nice. We're going to come around to our knees, and just to kind of show where we are with the fabric here, my toes are going to roll over. If you have issues with ankles or toes, or you cannot keep the ankles together, you can come up to the balls of the feet there, just those nice little toe pads. That way you don't have to roll over the feet. But I'm going to do that nice roll over the feet here from our Virabhadrasana or Virabhadrasana. If you're a little spread out, we're going to breathe up, pull in. Last one here. As we pull up, we adduct the elbows in. We breathe in fully and pull at the same time, keeping those ankles together, rolling over the toes. Just a great way to come out of there. So again, our warrior 1, 2, and 3. We wrap around. We keep that foot on the ground. Hand down to the knee, lifting up the fabric over the top, underneath the pinky side to the big toe. There is our nice box wrap. External rotation of the hip as we jump behind that center line. Just a nice way to open up the hip to give some nice warmth in there. If you want to challenge yourself again, you can take that nice tail and pull the foot up even higher and try to hold the foot there once you let go of the tail. No gripping through that grounded foot. Going through our warrior 1, that grounded foot is externally rotated to 10 or 2 o'clock. And then you can keep that fabric on the outside as we lean forward just to start. If you want to go deeper, don't let it slingshot out. Keep it in line with the shin, nice flat foot. And as we come forward, you of course can use both pulls. You can use that flying pull, or you can use no pulls. Our warrior 2, just to give that version from the side, as we open up here, fabric goes in front of the thigh. You flamingo grip around the front. That opens up that hip really nice. If you're dropping through your chest, drop that tailbone. Externally rotate. You should be nice and active. If you want to open up even more, don't go too far if fabric is still on the thigh. If fabric comes to the knee in line with that shin, this is where we can open up deeper, keeping that nice, beautiful form. And then going into our warrior 3, just showing the back version here. As I ground, that fabric wraps atop the foot and then level through the hips. Hips are level first. Once hips are level, check in with both grounded leg and extended leg. No gripping through the toes. Soft foot, Keeping that level hip, maybe pushing that heel back so that you know you're long, and then if you want to extend the toes, you can even play back and forth here. Just keep that flying hip down. Hands can go forward, or of course you can let go of the hands altogether. When we come down, keeping that leg long. If you want to take that little child's pose, again, you can take that hip down even into that half froggy. Just keep that leg long. Don't let the knee bend. Keep that leg long. When we come down, relaxing. Breathing deep into the form. When we come out, we roll to that grounded hip. Fabric will just slide off of the foot. Grabbing, rolling around to that nice Virabhadrasana. Your legs are spread. You might, if your knees are spread, you might want to already go to the balls of your toes. Otherwise, we rise up, breathe in, rise up, roll over the toes, keep those elbows together. The elbows really like to expand out. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe. Mahalo. Namaste.